You guys all know Sabrina the Teenage Witch, right? Well, we're not here to talk about her. We're here to talk about Archie. It's the same publisher, so I thought it would be a funny and relevant switch. How'd I do? Okay.
What's that sound?
Archie Andrews is one of the most famous characters in the history of comic books. But while Superman fights against Lex Luthor and Spider-Man tangles with the guilt of letting his own father figure die, Archie has a far different dilemma to pull him along for the years. Which hot chick is he going to go out with? I've been there, buddy. Yeah, Archie is about as different from Marvel and DC as you can get in terms of content. Back in the day, Archie actually rose to prominence when superheroes were starting to lose steam. Teenage Problems and hilarious hijinks, however, ended up all the rage. Of course, these days, superheroes once again rule the comic racks, but Archie and his friends are still around to this day, with some pretty long-running titles being published. Linkara from atop the fourth wall has often wondered what the appeal of Archie is, and how, in a day and age when comic books are a struggling medium, the franchise manages to remain fairly popular. I don't want to compare myself to someone who's infinitely funnier than me and has far more experience doing reviews. So I won't. But if I do have to throw my own 2 cents in, I do actually read a bit of Archie. I think it's nice to have something innocent and familiar that just remains innocent and familiar. And nothing's more innocent than a comic about a horny teenager who basically has 2 girlfriends. The most popular thing to come out of Archie comics would probably have to be the Sabrina the Teenage Witch TV series, which lasted 7 seasons and led to numerous spin-offs. Archie himself has had a few stabs at TV, but nothing nearly as successful. But can you blame him? 7 seasons is pretty good. Hell, nowadays, if it's based on a comic, you'll be lucky if your show lasts 2 seasons. Usually these adaptations were pretty straightforward, but Archie's latest foray into the animated series, as recent as 1996, gave us something a little different.
What's that sound? Archie? What is going on in this town? Archie? Who is gonna crack the case? Archie? That redhead with the freckled face? Archie?
So if you couldn't tell from those titles, Archie went from finding a date in Riverdale to fighting against monsters in Riverdale. That's a bit of a jump, don't you think? Sabrina and Archie coexist, so it's not like Archie's life is completely devoid of the supernatural, but to dedicate an entire show to that sort of thing seems a little odd in my opinion. Odd, but by no means a bad thing. This series presents a way to show the simple, likable characters of Riverdale while focusing on storylines that will entertain a far wider audience. Now, according to Wikipedia, the premise of the series is that an experiment by the nerdy character Dilton goes awry and turns the town of Riverdale into a magnet for supernatural and paranormal phenomena. I've watched the show and that never happened, so telling you this was completely pointless. Nope, the series just decides to torture Mr. Andrews by ramping up the science fiction or fantasy tropes and letting whatever wants to happen, well, happen.
What happened to the good old days when Jughead was the only weirdo in town?
In the series, Archie writes a column for the school paper called Archie's Weird Mysteries.
He said it! He said it!
Each episode closes out with Archie writing about the events in his article, and yet throughout the series, the town remains blissfully unaware that there's anything weird going on.
I don't believe in vampires, and I don't do weird mysteries, okay?
Mostly that's understandable. After all, who's going to believe that the policeman is a werewolf? I'll tell you who, Reggie, because Reggie was there. And yet you'll probably see him scoff at the idea of whatever Archie's suggesting in the next episode. Though in this case, that may be understandable because Reggie's a dick. So yeah, we've got werewolves. Can you see where this is going? Vampires, ghosts, aliens. This isn't exactly anything we haven't seen 100 times before. Actually, I think you'll be surprised. One episode has Archie buy a cursed pair of fluffy dice for his car, which brings it to life, and making it completely obsessed with hogging Archie's attention. Sound familiar? Yes. Archie is parodying Stephen King's Christine. Or what about the episode where Veronica accidentally curses everyone in town to transform into clones of herself? That is weird and terrifying. Or what about the episode where, oh my... Hello. This is my favorite episode. It makes me a very happy person. My girlfriend's gonna kill me if she sees this. Point is, this show is much better than you'd expect. This series is the whole reason why I started reading Archie to begin with. As a matter of fact, I even checked out the Archie's Weird Mysteries spin-off comic book. Yeah, my mom bought this for me for Christmas last year. I don't want to grow up, okay? Being a best-of collection, it's kind of a mixed bag. Interesting variety though. They start out with a parody of the movie Scream, and immediately follow it up with a Scooby-Doo parody. Overall, it's a story for another day. Now, as much as I like this show, I'm not going to pretend it's some unknown flawless masterwork. It was a show about the paranormal made in the 90s. It is going to get unbearably goofy sometimes. For example, there's an episode with a mummy. Okay, already we've got an absurdly cliched monster of the week, but that's neither here nor there. In this episode, Archie is so focused on writing his column that he keeps ignoring Betty, which doesn't please her much at all. And then he stands her up the next day to go to the museum with Veronica, who he also ignores. Alright, jackass. First of all, you, for some reason, have two gorgeous women completely head over heels in love with you to the point where you are basically dating two women at the same time, and they are only friendly rivals instead of trying to perform murders on each other like most people would. And second, you find yourself into this situation and you can't even give one of those beautiful women the time of day? Archie, you suck as a horny teenager. You suck as a man. You suck as a person. And worst of all, you suck as a boyfriend. You suck.
But that's not even the bad part. He wants to do a weird mystery on a new mummy exhibit. What is the story of the mummy? Well, he was an Egyptian prince who coincidentally looked exactly like Archie. And he was so busy perfecting his pyramids that he had no time for his queen, who looked exactly like Betty.
Gee, I wonder what the lesson of the day is gonna be. Oh, but that's not even my favorite, people. Nope, that comes in the form of the token video game episode, Virtually Evil. I haven't heard much about the show's production, but with this episode, I have a strange feeling that the behind the scenes may have been a bit of a mess. So a mysterious individual known as the Ringmaster arrives in Riverdale with his creation, a virtual circus. He's a very sinister kind of guy, and you know he's up to something. Except, he isn't. When things inevitably go wrong, he's as surprised as everyone else. Though, I'll give the writers some credit, that was probably intentional. So what does this virtual circus entail? Fighting monsters known as Trogs while wearing Power Ranger suits and wielding laser guns that look like compact mirrors. What's really worrying is that to me, that sounds like a perfectly normal circus. Archie ends up being great at the game and becomes addicted to winning. Unfortunately, this means he becomes an obnoxious jerk about it. Archie! Stop sucking! But more importantly, Jughead learns the glory of churros!
I haven't been to Movie World in 7 years, and so I haven't had a true Movie World churro in 7 years. This is a big moment for me.
Archie ends up playing the game so many times and gives his friends such an ass whooping that the game is overloaded and the Trog leader comes into the real world, now enraged at how Archie continually slaughtered his people and gloated over his abilities.
Yeah, that's right. Archie is such an asshole, the rules of time and space have been warped in an attempt to kill him. Wow.
Fortunately, the Ringmaster accidentally downloaded the weapons and armor from the game into the real world.
What?
Suiting up, Archie and his friends fight back to save the town from the Trogs. It actually goes pretty well, that is until...
Well, there you go, he chooses Betty. And to think, this whole time, all it took was for a video game character to come to life and disintegrate Veronica with a ray gun.
The Trogs dwindle the team down until it's only Archie left to fight them off, until the Trog leader personally disarms him. And here's where I start to question what happened behind the scenes. The Trog leader starts to monologue about Archie killing his men. But then his complaints get a little petty.
You were too busy bragging to think about the losers in your little game, weren't you? Weren't you?
Yes.
Not very sportsmanlike, were you?
No, not sportsmanlike at all. Huh?
And you'll be sorry for your insolence.
I already am. Honest.
Okay, you can see where this is going. The Ringmaster noticed what a jerk Archie had become thanks to his game and set up this astoundingly elaborate prank with his friends to teach him a lesson in humility. Except, no. Betty avoided the Trogs and saves the day at the last second. The Trog leader just had some unusual priorities, I guess.
My guess is that they originally were going for that twist, but when the writers decided that the prank was so elaborate, it went all the way around from over-the-top hilarious to just ridiculously cruel. I mean, I know if my friends pulled a prank like that on me, I'd be pissed as all hell. I will perform a murder on you.
But that's Archie's Weird Mysteries. If you're a 90s kid who grew up with Sabrina, you should like it just fine. And while I guess I wouldn't recommend it for the modern crowd, I think it's a fine piece of nostalgia to show your kids. And even if not, well, at least it still has that kick-ass theme tune.
I'm that Kid With The Sideburns. Stay positive, people.
What's that sound? Archie? What is going on in this town? Archie? Who is gonna crack the case? Archie? That redhead with the freckled face? Archie?
This comic sucks! I'm just kidding, baby, I love you.